Here we go.
Brass bands were born in the mid-19th century as the working-class musical activity. They began in 1851 at the Great International Expedition held at Hyde Park, Crystal Palace. One of the stalls at the expedition was ran by a man called Alfred Sachs. He offered a range of brass instruments which men from all over the country discovered for the very first time. Now this includes cornets, tenor horns, flugelhorns, baritones, euphoniums, trombones, tubas, and a full set of percussion range. A couple of years later, in 1853, the Mosley Band won the first British Open Championship at Bellevue, Manchester. It changed the way brass bands were formed using a collection of the Sachs instruments seen at the expedition. The performance brought change throughout the country, and during the 1860s and 1870s, many new bands were formed and many converted to the new style of brass groups we see today. In 1895, the country was estimated to have 40,000 brass bands, and one of the most famous brass bands was the Black Dyke Mills Band.
Well, you know, the band has got a history of now 170 years. And so it's a special band. When they started 180 years ago, if you look outside the building now, the mill is opposite. So that meant that the players, they travel all of 200 metres to come to a band practice. Now the band travels an average of 120 miles per person just to get here. It could be said that the band are amateur. They are amateur, but amateur in status, but Olympian in standard.
Brass bands are split into 5 different sections, similar to a football league table. Black Dykes sit in the championship section. The band competes all over Europe in this section and at some major landmarks, including the Royal Albert Hall. It's an identity for Black Dyke not just to compete, but to win the competitions.
They're the most successful brass band in history. That means that they've won more competitions. But for me, I always think of competitions like the sport. And it's the concerts that are really the lifeblood of what we do. And my goodness, the concerts that this band have done is incredible. So when I introduce them to a normal audience that isn't so brass band aficionados, I always say the most famous pop group in the world is the Beatles. And they only made one song on Apple where they were on side B. The Black Dyke Band were on side A. So every time you listen to the Yellow Submarine and you hear a brass band play, bo 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 bo, biddly biddly, that's the Black Dyke Band.
In the next episode, we'll look at how brass bands mining history played a part in creating one of the most well-known brass banding films and shaping one of Sam Fender's singles in his People Watching album.